Hey everybody, Eric Dorward here with the Spartan Rocketry Club, and we are continuing our build of the Estes Low Boom SST. So, in the intervening time since the last episode, I attached the motor mount here that we made, and it is in place. And as mentioned too, I extended the lines that are drawn on this thing down the rocket body. Now, the next step is going to be to attach the fins. Now, this thing right here, I did a little bit of sanding on it, and it didn't really make a whole lot of difference, honestly. It's not even. It's it's not a horrendous job that I did, but here's the real problem. This is the tail fin, I guess you want to call it. It's supposed to fit over top right here because it says top fin. Well, the problem is that because this is not, well, it's not a great fit. There's a lot of, you see how much this is wiggling? It's not going to fit flush. As opposed to over here, right where it's not at the seam, this is a good fit. So here's what I ended up doing. I got myself a little bit of paper, just the instructions, and I measured right around the end of the tube here, the distance from this marking to the midline. And it's the same, in both directions. So I double checked my measurements. You can see the first one was wrong. So it's the second one that counts. So what I'm actually going to do instead is I put a fourth line on here that's equidistant between where the two side fins are going to attach. And that's where I'm going to put this tail fin instead, because this is nice and smooth. This line I extended with the door jamb. This one I did too, but I had to remember to put this part into the door jamb diagonally so that it would fit fairly accurately. And it's I don't know, it's pretty straight. I'm not going to completely trust it, but it's pretty straight, so good enough. All right, so it is time to start gluing. I think our objective here should be to get the three major fins on in this video. So let's start with, I'm going to do the tail fin last, I think. So apparently this was not sitting flat, and the joint, oh, yep, that's what I thought. This joint has become damaged. So that's going to have to get reattached in a little bit. So just good advice, keep your fins stored properly while they're resting. So that's I'm gonna have to reglue that. Anyway, you didn't really need to see me glue both parts anyway, I suppose. So anyway, here we go. This is a huge glue joint, so it's gonna take a lot of glue. And we're definitely gonna do the 2 layers of glue approach. Oh, goodness, this might be like the longest fin that I've ever attached. It is really, really long. That's fine though. Doesn't really make a difference how long it is. It just doesn't, probably fills the entire frame now, huh? All right, well, let's just clean out as much of this stuff as I possibly can. By the time it took me to get from one end to the other, this end is probably ready for more glue, huh? Well, can do. Actually, I have a little bit of glue residue in the nozzle. Clean that out. All right, second layer of glue. Remember, more glue does not make the joint stronger, necessarily, but it does guarantee that it's going to take longer for the glue to set. Lovely, because the glue needs to dry. And the more glue there is, the longer it's going to take for that to happen. Okay, so spreading it nice and evenly. There was actually more glue down here at the bottom for whatever reason. All right. time to attach. Make sure you are putting this in the right place. You want it on the side fin and the place where the fin joint is. So where the back joint anyway, that's going to be right where the white cylinder cone that we constructed and the body tube is going to meet. So that's going to be kind of the point that we're going to build off of. And then everything else should be on the line. So I'm going to kind of, I prefer to, hopefully you've watched me before, I prefer to like roll things up here. That's what we're going to do. And hopefully we are on all the lines. Now the front is easy to see. The back, I can't see through my hand, but it looks pretty good, at least for now. And that notch, well, this one actually doesn't have a notch, but the point at which the fins, the joint was, seems to be all lined up. So I'm going to hold things here and get things at least a little bit tacky. Unfortunately, so even though this is a single piece, the wood can flex because it's wood, and it's balsa wood in particular, so it is not super like ultra rigid. So I can't tell like at all right now because I'm not looking at it. You might be able to see how accurate, how straight this is. So I'm just kind of holding it in place until I trust it enough to start moving it. And I really don't want to have to fool around with this. I don't want to have to adjust it very much. And I really don't want to have it flop off. So it feels fairly stable. I'm going to smooth out the glue here. And I'm going to take a peek. I'll look at the other side. The other side looks like I squeezed all the glue on this side. Well, that's fine. All right. It looks pretty straight from this angle anyway. I'll hold it up, look down the barrel. It looks a little tilty, but it doesn't look like it's off by much. The one benefit of having that huge amount of surface area is that that's a lot of glue, a lot of strength potentially to hold the fin in place. All right. Now, ideally, had I not damaged, well, it's damaged, but I don't know. I suppose I could try to attach that right now, but I don't really want to. If that were perfect, I would flip this over and do the other very long fin next. However, since that's not the case, I'm going to do the tail fin. While I'm preparing the tail fin, I don't want to have this. I want to have the fin either vertical like this, or straight down, or have the whole rocket standing up. I think that's what I'm going to choose to do. Now, of course, it's unbalanced because there's nothing on this side and there's a big old fin on this side. So I'm going to try using this bottle of paint here. I'm going to put the rocket on top of it, and that's usually enough to hold it. It's not going to be perfectly vertical, but it's not going to fall over either. All right, let's try to attach the tail fin now. Same deal, 2 coats of glue. All right. Smooth it out. All right. And then allow the glue to start to set. Very exciting watching glue dry, of course. Notice this one has a little notch burned into it. It's been cut. And this is going to tell us, this is where it's the same as where in the other piece. It's where the angle changes. It's where the 2 pieces fit together. So since this is one piece, you can't see that. So kindly, the good people at Estes put a little bit of a mark there for us so we can line everything up. things out. This is likely to be the most difficult attachment because the glue for the big fin that's on there is probably not set yet. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make myself a little bit of something to keep it up off the ground. And let's try to attach. You probably, well, I can move it closer. And I actually want to move it the other way just because of the way I want to use my hands. There we go. And you can almost see it. Let's try a little more. All right. I want to get this on and I want to get it upright as soon as possible because the longer this fin is perpendicular to gravity, the worse it's going to be. All right, so again, I'm using that notch as the point that I'm focusing on, and I'm kind of trusting in myself that I put a straight line on here, because if I didn't, then even though I have everything lined up right, it's not going to be at a 90-degree angle to the other fin. I'm going to have to check that as soon as the glue is tacky enough to kind of support everything. So again, just holding it in place. Unfortunately, this, I can feel this isn't, there's still a little bit of wobble in here. The big fin didn't wobble like at all, but this one did for some reason. I'm not sure why. I think that this would be the most pristine part of that that cone, but maybe not. Who's to say? All right, I'm going to clean up my glue seams here, and then I'm going to take a peek. It is definitely not vertical, and that's okay. I can fix that. But the back end isn't, I don't know, I don't think it's exactly where I want it to be. I think it's too far to the right, my right. Yeah. And it's not that bad, honestly. And this is pretty close to a right angle. I do have, this is a piece of wood that I cut a while ago from another kit that is at a right angle. So I can kind of put it in there and then adjust the fin as necessary to get it to line up right. This was meant for a bigger body than this one, but it's still, I mean, the wood bits are at a 90-degree angle, so I can still use them. All right, that looks pretty good. I really wish I had the other fin on already, but that's okay. I think at this point we're going to wrap up the video. I'm going to investigate whether this really needs to be repaired. I think I'm just going to put a seam of glue in here and then attach it like right away before the whole thing sets. That probably ought to be good enough. Annoying that it has to be done, but what are you going to do? Anyway, in the next video, we will continue with the fin construction. We got to attach those engine pods. It took just about forever to make, and I will see you then.